I hope you're good. Hope you had a nice start to the week. It's always nice going into a week, isn't it, knowing that the weekend wasn't ruined by West Ham. I always think that's quite a nice little Brucey bonus. But no, it wasn't too bad this end. I hope you had the same. And of course, we've got Tottenham this weekend fast approaching. It feels like a big game, doesn't it? Well, it always is a big game in Spurs anyway, but it feels quite monumental in the fact that it's a home game and we really need to get our home form up and running. We're coming off the back of a big win against Nottingham Forest. Of course, as well, Spurs losing to Bournemouth, and they were really poor in their last outing. So it just feels like this is a really big opportunity for West Ham. So it's a big week leading up to it, and we'll obviously have more videos to talk about that, and then in the build up to that game. So I'm looking forward to. Before I get to the video, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. It's absolutely free to do so. Just click on that subscribe. That's it. You're done. You're a subscriber. And join us on this journey. Really do appreciate it. Also, hit that like button. Also, a big thank you to everyone that's came back. On the previous video, I've asked for some feedback on your thoughts on having a tier on this channel. To be honest, it's something not going to pursue at the moment at all. So that it's no real changes coming up at all. It may not happen at all, but I really do appreciate the feedback. It was it's really insightful, and I like the fact we can be honest and open with each other, and obviously we want to grow the channel together. So really do appreciate everyone and their kind words and everything. Just want to say a big thank you for that. Not massive things to talk about at the moment, a couple of little bits and pieces. Firstly, there's been a link with Daniel Levy and West Ham. I felt that was always a little bit inevitable, with West Ham board being under a hell of a lot of pressure. At present, a lot of media scrutiny, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger as the pressure grows on the club, because we've got protests planned for the Crystal Palace game. Ahead for the Crystal Palace game, which is the game the game after Spurs, which is going to be interesting. So I'm going to be there myself. I encourage you, if you're there, to come and do so if you feel that's what you want to go and do. But I feel like we do need to let the board know, certainly in terms of numbers and voice. So that'll be interesting. That's outside the ground as the directors arrive. So that's all going to be organised by Hamish United, and we'll talk about that a little bit more detail as it approaches. And then there's a boycott then of the Brentford game. That's the game, the home game that follows the Crystal Palace game. So lots going on, it feels. So the Daniel Levy link was kind of obvious. I felt that was always going to happen. The second that the news came out that Daniel Levy is now has left Spurs as chairman, it was I felt that I guarantee there's going to be a link then to West Ham, which is the case. I don't think there's anything in it personally. I've not heard anything that suggests that's going to be the case. It's kind of been dismissed. I believe he's actually is also a shareholder at Spurs, so it's not like he can go and dive into West Ham. So I just don't think it's something that's going to happen. I think as well, with his long-standing allegiance with Spurs, I can't see him coming over to West Ham anyway. I just think it's a no-go. It's one of those stories. I think it's easy to write and it's going to grab headlines. You know what I mean? Or Levy linked with West Ham. I just think if you're a journalist trying to sell some papers, I think that's a really easy one to do. So as far as I understand it, there's nothing in that. But who knows? Look, anything can happen in football, can't it? But it's certainly one that I'm not subscribing to in any way, shape or form at this stage. And I'm not really thinking about it. But I do feel that Spurs situation has put more pressure on David Sullivan and Karen Brady. I really do. I think it makes you go, well, why can't you do that then? Why can't we get rid of you? Why can't you resign and step away from the football club? Spurs obviously going through big changes here. There's talk about them buyouts and things like that going through the club. So I feel like this adds to the fuel to the fire in terms of West Ham at the moment and the situation they're in. So, which I think is a good thing, actually. As much as I'm envious of what's happening over there, I do think, we want to see change. It looks like they're going to experience that. So I do look on with envy, but at the same time, I do think actually it's probably helping us in a way. It's adding just more pressure to the football club, because every time now you read about the West Ham board situation, the Spurs situation is now brought into it as well. Well, look what's happening over across the road. Look what's happening to their rivals. They're now doing this, and Levy's now moved away, and they're looking to make changes over there. So, I think it's an interesting time at West Ham, certainly, and I think that the pressure is very much on the football club at the moment, and I like the fact that the media finally feel like they're on West Ham's fan side. That we don't get that a lot. I've always felt that every time West Ham fans have voiced the frustrations at the football club, I feel like the vast majority of the media have been very much the ungrateful West Ham fans. What do they bloody want, kind of thing. That seems to have shifted now quite considerably. I think people can see something ain't right at this football club. Something is just not right. So no, I'm pleased regarding that. So the more pressure we can add to this football club, the better. One thing I want to talk about as well is Crysencio Summerville. I've got to be honest, I've been so looking forward to seeing him back at West Ham. When he first, when Graham Potter first arrived, we had that played Aston Villa in the Cup, which we lost 2-1, but one of our best performances actually under Potter. And I thought Somerville was sensational. It just feels like he really fits what Potter's trying to do. It's always been very exciting. Just typical, wasn't it, that he got injured straight away, hamstring injury. Now, there was a lot of rumours over the weekend that Somerville re-injured his hamstring. I'm not sure where that's come from. As far as I understand it, that isn't true. Ex-WHU employee put out that he spoke to people at the club that were completely unaware of the situation. So, fantastic news. So we should be able to see Somerville in action against Spurs. Whether he'll be fit enough to start, I'm not sure at this stage, but great to know that he's had the last couple of weeks working on the training ground with the team. So that's really good news. But what has come out as well was that Somerville was targeted over the summer by Nottingham Forest, also Borussia Dortmund, over a transfer. The player made it very, very clear that he only wanted to stay at West Ham, that he wants to grow his West Ham career and he feels like he owes the club and he has a lot of unfinished business here, and rightly so. I'm just pleased to hear it. I think what I see from Somerville is a player that I just feel like he just has all the right attributes. You know what I mean? He's got a really good attitude about him. He seems to have a real hunger and desire. He's dangerous on the ball. He's brave. And I really like him. If we can keep that guy fit, I think he will make such a big difference. And to hear that he had the opportunity, let's be honest, right? Borussia Dortmund, even Forest, far better positions than West Ham overall, really. You look at them. I know we've just beaten Forest, by the way, but you look at them as clubs and think, well, where do you think West Ham are going to fare against in terms of league positions? I appreciate Dortmund, of course, playing Germany, but you get my point. Dortmund are more likely to be qualifying for Champions Leagues and things and challenging at the higher end of the table. You could say the same for Nottingham Forest, more likely to be in and around the European spots this season, top half. I mean, it does feel like it's a club that could be a little bit like that at this stage because of the ownership and Nuno and what have you. But that aside, if you look at those football clubs and look at West Ham, you're probably thinking they're probably a little bit more attractive at this stage. So to hear that he's just gone, no, I'm not interested, I want to stay at West Ham, it's just what I want to hear, really. Really pleasing news. And as I say, the talk of him being injured and reoccurring his injury, I mean, when I saw that, my God, my heart sunk. Oh, my God. I was out and I just saw it. I was popped up on my phone that Somerville's could be injured. I just thought, oh, this can't be happening, because that would have been a horrendous blow. But as far as I understand, it's not true. So he will be available for Spurs games. That's fantastic. And really, really great news in that regard. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. There's not a great deal of big news, of course, at the moment, because West Ham haven't been playing. The transfer window's closed. And after the sort of, I won't say turmoil was a bit of too extreme, but certainly the difficulties that we've experienced over the summer, obviously last season, we've had a crap start to the season. Do you know what? Having a little bit of downtime where there's not too much drama isn't that bad. I mean, of course, we've got this ownership stuff going on and all of that. I mean, all I will say is that the club have sort of indirectly, have responded to this in regards to how they feel about the protest, and basically saying that they just don't feel like it's helpful. They don't think it's wise and don't think it's helpful and doesn't solve any issues. Well, I don't really get that response, I've got to be honest. I don't really understand what they're trying to get at with that. It just feels like, again, an out of touch comment. You know, they don't ever seem to grasp the fact that they're failing. Do you know what I mean? It's always like as if like it's not to do with them. They never seem to take any responsibility, do they? West Ham ownerships, they never do. It's always they blame everybody else. It's the Premier League's issue. It's the PSR issue. That's why we're in this mess. It's not. It's down to your crappy management and incompetence. But they never accept it. And even down now to West Ham fans protesting, getting all these things in place, and then you've got the obviously the petitions going on. You've got the media now, attention, all these things. And once again, it's almost like, well, that's not helping anything, is it? That's not helping us get out of this mess. Well, that's not the point. We're not saying we want a plan to get out of this mess. The plan is to get you out of the football club. That's the ambition here. It's not to say that we want things to get better under you, because you've had your chance. That's what I don't think they're grasping. It's not as if they just arrived at the club and then they're going, well, hang on, give us time. We're trying to get things fixed. You'd have a point. Been here for 15 years. 15 years. I mean, best part of a decade now at the London Stadium, and yet they're still sort of playing this card as if it's a work in progress. I'm just not buying it. So, look, any pressure that keeps adding to this the board, I'm more than happy with it. I think it's a good thing. It's certainly something we don't want to see die down, and it won't. You know, Hammers United are doing a hell of a lot at the moment, and there's going to be more details coming out about that soon, which is excellent. But yeah, that's where we are at the moment. I've got an update from XWHU Employed, which will be later on today. So which I'll do a video off the back of that and provide some more updates on what's going on. And of course, then we've got the build up to the Spurs game, which is big game, and looking forward to it. Actually, I've got to say, feel like they've got a bit of that energy back now, and I think, God, really feel like we can get stuck into them if we can play like we did against Nottingham Forest, and we've got every chance. So, anyway, look, enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'll catch up with you later, and yeah, we'll have an update very soon from XWHU Employee. Come on, you irons.